If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the book. Chapter 1. The Quiet Path to Wealth. Part 1. The Surprising Faces of Millionaires. Most people imagine millionaires as glamorous celebrities driving luxury cars and living in mansions. The truth paints a completely different picture. Real millionaires are your neighbors, co-workers, and the person sitting next to you at the local coffee shop. They wear regular clothes, drive reliable cars, and shop at discount stores. This section reveals the hidden faces of wealth and shows how ordinary people build extraordinary financial success through simple, consistent choices that anyone can make. Mary Chen works as a high school teacher in suburban Dallas. She drives a 7-year-old Honda Civic and shops at Target for her family's clothes. Her neighbors assume she struggles financially like many educators. What they don't know is that Mary has accumulated over $1.2 million in savings and investments. She achieved this by living on 70% of her income and investing the rest for 25 years. Think about the wealthiest person you know personally. Do they drive the fanciest car in your neighborhood? The research shows that most millionaires choose practicality over prestige. They understand that every dollar spent on status symbols is a dollar not working to build their future wealth. Consider Tom Rodriguez, a plumber who built $1 million net worth by age 55. While his college-educated friends bought expensive homes and luxury cars, Tom continued living in his modest starter home and driving his work truck. He invested the money others spent on appearances. Today, Tom has enough wealth to retire comfortably while his higher-earning friends still worry about their next paycheck. The data reveals that teachers, engineers, accountants, and small business owners make up the largest groups of millionaires. These are not high-profile careers that make headlines. They represent steady, reliable professions that provide consistent income streams. The secret lies not in earning massive salaries, but in managing money wisely over time. Sarah Kim exemplifies this principle perfectly. As a mid-level accountant earning $65,000 annually, she seemed unlikely to achieve significant wealth. However, Sarah followed 3 simple rules. She saved 20% of every paycheck, avoided credit card debt, and invested in low-cost index funds. After 30 years, her disciplined approach created a portfolio worth over $2 million. What stops most people from building wealth like Sarah? The answer often lies in their assumptions about what wealth requires. Many believe they need 6-figure salaries or lucky stock picks to become rich. This thinking creates a dangerous waiting game where people postpone saving until they earn more money. The millionaires studied share common characteristics that have nothing to do with their income levels. They live below their means consistently. They prioritize saving before spending on wants. They avoid debt except for appreciating assets like homes. They invest regularly without trying to time the market. Most importantly, they maintain these habits for decades without wavering. James Patterson worked as a government employee his entire career, never earning more than $55,000 annually. His coworkers often joked about his brown bag lunches and secondhand clothes. James retired with over $1.5 million because he treated saving like a non-negotiable bill. He automated his investments and never touched the money for vacations or purchases. How might your financial future change if you started treating saving as seriously as paying rent? The wealthy understand that building assets matters more than displaying income. They measure success by net worth growth, not by the brands they wear or the restaurants they frequent. The neighborhood millionaire phenomenon appears everywhere once you know what to look for. These individuals often drive older cars, live in average homes, and shop at regular stores. They choose financial security over social status every single time a choice presents itself. Building wealth requires patience and consistency rather than dramatic gestures or perfect timing. The teachers, plumbers, and accountants who become millionaires simply start early and never stop. They prove that anyone willing to make deliberate choices can achieve financial independence regardless of their starting point or profession. Part 2. Ordinary lives, extraordinary outcomes. Real wealth builders wake up each morning and make ordinary decisions that create extraordinary results over decades. They choose generic cereal over name brands, repair their cars instead of replacing them, and save the difference between their income and expenses without fail. This section reveals the daily habits and routines that transform average earners into millionaires, showing you exactly how small, consistent actions compound into remarkable financial outcomes. You will discover why discipline beats intelligence, why patience outperforms luck, and how anyone can start building wealth today through simple choices that cost nothing but deliver everything. Consider Maria, a high school teacher who retired with $2.3 million at age 62. She never earned more than $65,000 annually, yet her methodical approach to money created wealth that most people never achieve. Maria packed lunch every day for 30 years, driving the same Honda Civic for 15 years while her colleagues bought new cars every few years. She understood that every dollar saved was a dollar that could work for her future. Maria's secret was not complicated. She paid herself first by automatically transferring 20% of each paycheck to investments before she could spend it. While her friends spent evenings shopping or dining out, Maria spent Saturday mornings reviewing her budget and planning her financial future. She treated saving money like a part-time job that paid her millions over time. The power of Maria's approach becomes clear when you examine the numbers. By investing $1,000 monthly for 30 years at an average return of 8%, she accumulated over $1.2 million just from her systematic contributions. The remaining $1.1 million came from compound growth, where her money earned money that earned more money. What specific daily habit could you start today that would save you $5 without reducing your quality of life? James, a plumber who built a $1.8 million portfolio, followed similar principles with his own twist. He lived in the same modest home for 25 years, while his income grew from $40,000 to $85,000. Instead of upgrading his lifestyle with each raise, James banked the difference. He drove used pickup trucks, bought tools only when necessary, and avoided the equipment financing that trapped many contractors in debt cycles. James discovered that wealthy people think differently about purchases. Before buying anything over $100, he asked himself 3 questions. Do I need this or just want it? Will this purchase bring me closer to or further from my financial goals? Can I find a less expensive alternative that serves the same purpose? This mental framework saved James thousands of dollars annually. He bought quality items when needed but avoided impulse purchases that drain wealth. James learned to distinguish between investments that grew his net worth and expenses that reduced it. The wealthy understand that time amplifies small actions into massive results. Sarah, an accountant, demonstrated this principle by starting her wealth-building journey at age 25 with just $50 monthly investments. By age 45, her consistent contributions and reinvested earnings had grown to $847,000. Her colleague, who waited until age 35 to start investing the same amount, accumulated only $367,000 by age 45, despite having higher income during those years. Sarah's early start gave her investment an extra decade to compound, creating a $480,000 advantage over her colleague. This difference illustrates why wealthy people prioritize starting over, timing the market perfectly, or finding the highest returns. Daily habits separate wealth builders from wealth wishers. Successful savers check their account balances weekly, not to worry, but to stay connected with their progress. They celebrate small milestones like reaching their first $10,000 or paying off their car loan. These celebrations reinforce positive behaviors and maintain motivation during the long journey to financial independence. How would your spending change if you treated every purchase as either moving you toward or away from your financial dreams? The wealthy also master the art of delayed gratification. When they want something expensive, they implement a waiting period. A 30-day rule for purchases over $300 often reveals that the desire fades, saving money and preventing buyer's remorse. When the desire persists, they save specifically for that item rather than financing it, which builds discipline while avoiding interest payments. These ordinary people achieve extraordinary outcomes because they understand that wealth building is not about perfection, but consistency. They make mistakes, face setbacks, and sometimes overspend, but they always return to their fundamental habits. Their success comes from understanding that small, positive actions repeated over time create results that appear magical to others, but are simply the natural outcome of patience and discipline. Part 3. Why wealth is often invisible. The wealthy person sitting next to you at the grocery store checkout probably looks just like everyone else. They drive a modest car, wear clothes from regular stores, and live in an ordinary house on your street. This invisible nature of true wealth challenges everything society teaches us about money and success. Understanding why genuine wealth remains hidden reveals the fundamental difference between building lasting financial security and merely appearing prosperous. This knowledge changes how you view money forever. Walk through any upscale neighborhood and you might assume the residents are wealthy. The luxury cars, designer landscaping, and impressive homes create a picture of financial success. Yet research shows that many people living in these expensive areas have surprisingly little actual wealth. They spend most of their income maintaining an image of prosperity while building little financial security for their future. The reality proves more complex. Sarah works as a high school teacher and drives a 10-year-old Honda. Her neighbor David is a lawyer with a BMW and a house twice the size. Most people would assume David has more wealth. However, Sarah has saved and invested consistently for 20 years, building a portfolio worth over $1 million. David, despite earning 3 times Sarah's salary, has less than $50,000 in savings after paying for his expensive lifestyle. This pattern repeats across America. The people who look wealthy often struggle financially, while those building real wealth remain invisible. Why does this happen so consistently? The answer lies in a fundamental choice everyone faces with their money. You can either use your income to appear wealthy or to become wealthy, but rarely both. Those who choose appearance spend their money on things others can see: cars, clothes, homes, and vacations. Those who choose actual wealth spend their money on things others cannot see: investments, savings accounts, and debt reduction. Think about your own spending choices. When you receive extra money, what draws your attention first? The new car that would impress your coworkers, or the investment account that builds your future security? Your answer reveals which path you naturally follow. Consider the case of 2 brothers who inherited equal amounts from their parents. The first brother bought a luxury car and expensive watch, enjoying the admiration of friends and family. The second brother invested the money in a diversified portfolio. 5 years later, the first brother still drives his depreciating car while struggling with monthly payments. The second brother's investment has grown substantially, providing him financial options his brother lacks. The psychology behind these choices runs deeper than simple preferences. Many people use spending to signal success to others, believing that looking wealthy will create opportunities and respect. This behavior often stems from insecurity or social pressure. They worry that others will judge them negatively if they appear too frugal or ordinary. Meanwhile, those building real wealth often develop different psychological patterns. They find satisfaction in growing their net worth rather than impressing others. They understand that every dollar spent on appearance is a dollar not working toward their financial freedom. This mindset shift proves crucial for long-term wealth building. What drives your financial decisions more? How others perceive you, or your actual financial security? Consider how this balance affects your daily spending choices. The truly wealthy also understand something important about human nature. Most people pay little attention to others' financial situations. The car you drive or clothes you wear matter less to others than you imagine. This recognition frees wealthy individuals from the pressure to spend money on appearances. Additionally, many wealthy people actively choose to remain invisible for practical reasons. They avoid the requests for money, investment schemes, and social complications that often accompany visible wealth. By maintaining a modest appearance, they protect both their money and their relationships. This invisible approach to wealth creates a powerful feedback loop. Money not spent on appearances gets invested instead. These investments grow over time, creating more money to invest. Meanwhile, those focused on appearances often struggle to save anything, as their lifestyle expenses consume their income. The lesson becomes clear. True wealth building requires choosing substance over style, progress over perception, and long-term security over short-term admiration. The millionaires next door understand this principle completely, which explains why their wealth remains hidden while their financial security grows stronger each year. Part 4. The Power of Simple Choices. Simple financial choices create extraordinary outcomes when applied consistently over time. Every purchase decision, saving habit, and investment move shapes your financial future. The wealthy understand that building substantial money doesn't require complicated formulas or risky schemes. Instead, it demands making straightforward decisions that align with long-term goals rather than immediate desires. This approach transforms ordinary people into millionaires through patient, deliberate actions that compound over decades. The power lies not in dramatic financial moves, but in the quiet consistency of smart choices made day after day. Consider Maria, a school teacher earning $45,000 annually. While her colleagues complained about low salaries, Maria focused on what she could control. She bought a reliable used car instead of financing a new one, choosing to save the $400 monthly payment difference. She packed lunch instead of spending $12 daily at restaurants, redirecting that money into her retirement account. These simple choices seem small individually, but over 20 years, they accumulated into substantial wealth. Maria's approach demonstrates how simple choices create compound effects. The money not spent on car payments earned interest. The lunch savings grew through consistent investing. By retirement, these everyday decisions had generated over $300,000 in additional wealth compared to her colleagues who made different choices. What daily expenses could you redirect toward wealth building without significantly impacting your quality of life? The mathematics of simple choices reveals their true power. A person spending $5 daily on coffee invests $1,825 annually in a habit that provides temporary satisfaction. If that same money entered an investment account earning 7% annually, it would grow to over $122,000 in 30 years. This example illustrates how small, repeated expenses create large opportunity costs over time. Wealthy individuals understand this principle instinctively. They evaluate purchases not just by immediate cost, but by long-term impact. Before buying anything non-essential, they ask themselves whether that money could work harder in an investment account. This mental framework transforms spending decisions from emotional impulses into strategic choices. Take David, a mechanic who earned $55,000 yearly. Instead of upgrading his lifestyle with each raise, he maintained his spending level and invested the increases. When his income rose to $65,000, he continued living on $55,000 and invested the difference. This approach, called avoiding lifestyle inflation, allowed David to accumulate wealth while his peers struggled financially despite earning similar amounts. The wealthy also make simple choices about housing, often the largest expense category. Rather than buying the most expensive home they can afford, they choose modest properties that allow for significant savings and investments. This decision creates financial flexibility and accelerates wealth building. Consider the difference between two families earning $80,000 annually. Family A buys a $400,000 home with high monthly payments, leaving little money for investing. Family B chooses a $250,000 home, freeing up $800 monthly for investments. Over 20 years, Family B accumulates hundreds of thousands more in net worth through this single housing decision. How might your current living situation either support or hinder your wealth-building goals? Simple investment choices also distinguish the wealthy from others. Instead of seeking complex strategies or hot stock tips, millionaires typically invest in broad market index funds and hold them for decades. This approach requires no special knowledge or constant monitoring, yet it consistently builds wealth over time. Regular investing, regardless of market conditions, represents another simple but powerful choice. Wealthy individuals automate their investments, removing emotion and ensuring consistency. They invest the same amount monthly whether markets rise or fall, benefiting from dollar-cost averaging over time. The power of simple choices extends to debt management. Wealthy individuals avoid consumer debt whenever possible, recognizing that interest payments drain money that could otherwise build wealth. When they do borrow, it's typically for appreciating assets like real estate or education that can generate future income. These simple choices work because they create positive financial momentum. Money saved from one smart decision becomes available for investment. Investment returns generate more money to invest. This cycle accelerates over time, creating substantial wealth from modest beginnings. The beauty of simple choices lies in their accessibility. Anyone can implement these strategies regardless of income level or financial background. The key is starting immediately and maintaining consistency over time. Small changes today create dramatic differences tomorrow through the magic of compound growth. Chapter 2. Habits that Build Fortunes. Part 1. Spending less, living more. True wealth often hides behind an ordinary appearance. While many people assume millionaires drive luxury cars and live in mansions, research reveals a different reality. Most wealthy individuals live modest lifestyles, spending far less than they earn. This approach to money creates lasting financial security and genuine happiness. The secret lies not in earning massive amounts, but in developing a healthy relationship with spending. By choosing simplicity over excess and experiences over possessions, anyone can build wealth while enjoying life more fully. Consider Sarah, an accountant from Ohio who discovered this principle by accident. When she lost her high-paying job during an economic downturn, she was forced to cut her expenses dramatically. Instead of feeling deprived, she found something unexpected: peace. Without the pressure to maintain an expensive lifestyle, she slept better at night. Her relationships improved because she focused on spending time with people rather than buying things to impress them. The most striking finding from wealth research shows that many millionaires drive used cars, shop at discount stores, and rarely buy designer clothes. They understand that every dollar spent on status symbols is a dollar that cannot work for them through investments. This mindset shift changes everything about how they approach money. Take the example of Jim, a small business owner who built a 7-figure net worth while driving a 10-year-old Honda. His neighbors assumed he struggled financially because his lifestyle appeared so ordinary. Meanwhile, Jim invested the money others spent on car payments and luxury items. Over 20 years, this approach created enough wealth to secure his family's future completely. How much of your monthly spending actually brings you lasting satisfaction? This question forces many people to examine their habits closely. Research shows that most purchases above basic needs provide only temporary happiness. The excitement of buying something new fades quickly, leading to a cycle of constant spending without genuine fulfillment. The key to mindful spending lies in understanding the difference between wants and needs. Needs include housing, food, transportation, and healthcare. Everything else falls into the wants category. Wealthy individuals become experts at questioning their wants before making purchases. They ask themselves whether each expense moves them closer to their financial goals or further away. Maria, a teacher from Texas, transformed her finances by implementing a simple waiting period before major purchases. When she wanted something expensive, she waited 30 days. During this time, she often realized the desire had passed completely. This habit saved her thousands of dollars annually, money she redirected toward building her retirement fund. The concept of value extends beyond price tags. True value considers the cost per use of any purchase. A quality winter coat that lasts 10 years provides better value than a cheaper option, requiring replacement every 2 years. This long-term thinking characterizes how successful wealth builders approach spending decisions. Creating a spending plan aligned with personal values requires honest self-reflection. What matters most in your life? Is it travel, family time, career growth, or something else entirely? Once you identify your core values, allocating money becomes much clearer. Expenses that support your values deserve priority, while those that contradict them should be eliminated. The practice of tracking expenses reveals surprising patterns. Most people underestimate how much they spend on small, frequent purchases. Coffee shop visits, subscription services, and impulse buys accumulate rapidly. Wealthy individuals monitor these patterns carefully, not to eliminate all enjoyment, but to ensure their spending remains intentional rather than automatic. Living well on less money requires creativity and planning, but it delivers remarkable results. People who master this skill often report higher levels of life satisfaction than those who spend freely. They experience less financial stress, more options for the future, and deeper appreciation for what they already have. Part 2. The magic of consistent saving. Regular saving transforms ordinary incomes into extraordinary wealth, yet most people struggle to save consistently. This section reveals how small, steady contributions create massive financial growth through the mathematical miracle of compound interest. You will discover practical automation techniques, goal-setting strategies, and real-world examples of people who built substantial wealth simply by making saving automatic. These proven methods work regardless of your current income level, showing how patience and consistency beat timing and large lump sums every time. The power of regular saving becomes clear when you see actual numbers in action. Consider Sarah, a teacher earning $40,000 annually who saved just $200 monthly starting at age 25. By age 65, her consistent contributions grew to over $650,000 through compound growth. Meanwhile, her colleague Mark waited until age 35 to start saving but contributed $400 monthly. Despite saving twice as much each month, Mark accumulated only $475,000 by retirement. The 10-year head start gave Sarah nearly $200,000 more, despite contributing $48,000 less total money. This example illustrates compound interest, where your money earns returns, and those returns earn additional returns. Early dollars work harder because they have more time to grow. A single $100 saved at age 20 becomes worth more than $1,000 by retirement, assuming average market returns. The same $100 saved at age 50 grows to only $300. Time acts as a multiplier, making consistency more valuable than size when starting your saving journey. What barriers prevent you from saving consistently right now? Most people cite insufficient income, but research shows behavior matters more than earnings. Wealthy individuals save first, then spend what remains. Average earners spend first, hoping money remains for saving. This sequence makes all the difference between building wealth and living paycheck to paycheck. Automation removes willpower from the equation entirely. When savings transfer automatically from checking to savings accounts, people adapt their spending naturally. The money becomes invisible, treating saving like any other fixed expense. Banks and employers offer automatic transfer services, making this process effortless once established. Start with amounts that feel comfortable rather than ambitious. Saving $25 weekly proves more effective than planning to save $200 monthly but failing consistently. Small amounts build the habit, and habits create the foundation for larger contributions later. Many millionaires began saving loose change and gradually increased amounts as their comfort with the process grew. The envelope method works well for people who prefer tangible systems. Label envelopes for different savings goals like emergency funds, vacations, or home purchases. Place predetermined amounts in each envelope weekly or monthly. This visual approach helps track progress and maintains motivation through visible accumulation. Digital tools make saving even easier for technology-oriented individuals. Apps round up purchases to the nearest dollar and save the difference. Others transfer small amounts daily or weekly based on preset rules. These micro savings accumulate surprisingly quickly without noticeable impact on daily spending. How might your life change if you had 6 months of expenses saved for emergencies? Emergency funds prevent financial disasters from becoming long-term setbacks. Medical bills, car repairs, or job loss become manageable when money sits ready for unexpected needs. This security reduces stress and prevents costly borrowing that compounds financial problems. Setting specific savings goals increases success rates dramatically. Vague intentions like save more money fail because they lack clear targets and deadlines. Specific goals like save $5,000 for emergency fund by December create accountability and measurable progress. Break large goals into monthly or weekly targets that feel achievable rather than overwhelming. Visual progress. Tracking maintains motivation during long savings journeys. Charts showing growing balances, thermometer-style goal trackers, or simple spreadsheets help maintain focus on objectives. Seeing progress encourages continuation, while lack of visible advancement often leads to abandonment of savings plans. Common obstacles include irregular income, high living expenses, and competing financial priorities. Irregular earners benefit from percentage-based saving rather than fixed amounts. During high-income periods, save larger percentages. During low periods, maintain smaller but consistent contributions. This approach smooths out income variations while maintaining the saving habit. People with high living costs often believe saving remains impossible, but expense examination usually reveals opportunities. Even $50 monthly creates substantial long-term wealth. The key involves treating savings as non-negotiable, rather than optional. Wealthy individuals pay themselves first through automatic savings, then adjust other expenses accordingly. Multiple financial goals require prioritization and systematic approaches. Emergency funds typically come first, followed by retirement contributions, then specific objectives like home purchases or education funding. Dividing available savings among multiple goals ensures progress on various fronts while maintaining overall momentum. The transformation from spender to saver requires patience and persistence, but results compound over time. People who establish consistent saving habits often report increased confidence, reduced financial anxiety, and greater optimism about their futures. These psychological benefits reinforce the behavior, creating positive cycles that accelerate wealth building beyond the mathematical advantages of compound growth. Part 3. Smart Earning, Smarter Keeping. Managing money successfully requires more than just earning a good salary. The real secret lies in developing two complementary skills that work together to build lasting wealth. While many people focus solely on increasing their income, the most successful wealth builders master both earning more and keeping more of what they earn. This balanced approach transforms ordinary earners into extraordinary savers, creating multiple pathways to financial independence through strategic income growth and intelligent expense management. Building wealth through increased earnings starts with recognizing that your current income represents just one stream in a potential river of revenue. Sarah, a marketing manager in Manchester, discovered this when she started freelance writing during evenings. What began as £200 monthly side income grew into £1,500 within 2 years. Her secret wasn't working more hours, but developing systems that allowed her income streams to complement each other rather than compete for time. Career advancement represents another powerful earning strategy that many people approach incorrectly. Instead of waiting for promotions to happen, successful wealth builders actively create value that makes them indispensable. Mark, an accountant from Birmingham, increased his salary by 60% over 3 years by obtaining specialized certifications and volunteering for high-visibility projects. He invested £3,000 in professional development that generated an additional £15,000 annually. The gig economy offers unprecedented opportunities for income diversification. Driving for rideshare companies, selling handmade products online, or offering consulting services can generate substantial additional income. The key lies in choosing side hustles that align with existing skills or interests, making the extra work feel less burdensome and more sustainable. However, earning more money means nothing if spending increases proportionally. This phenomenon, known as lifestyle inflation, destroys wealth-building potential faster than any market crash. Consider how your spending patterns have changed as your income increased. Have you maintained the same savings rate, or have new expenses consumed the additional earnings? Tax efficiency represents one of the most overlooked aspects of keeping more money. Understanding how different types of income face different tax treatments can save thousands annually. Pension contributions, ISA contributions, and business expenses all provide legitimate ways to reduce tax burdens while building wealth. Smart expense management goes beyond simply cutting costs. It involves strategic spending decisions that maximize value while minimizing waste. James and Lisa, a couple from Leeds, reduced their monthly expenses by £800 without sacrificing quality of life. They achieved this by questioning every recurring payment, negotiating better rates on utilities and insurance, and eliminating subscriptions they rarely used. The psychology of money plays a crucial role in keeping more of what you earn. Successful wealth builders separate their emotional relationship with money from their financial decisions. They view expenses as investments in their future rather than immediate pleasures, asking whether each purchase moves them closer to or further from their long-term goals. Automation serves as a powerful tool for both earning and keeping money. Setting up automatic transfers to savings accounts ensures that money gets saved before it can be spent. Similarly, automating bill payments prevents late fees, while automated investment contributions take advantage of pound cost averaging. The compound effect applies to both sides of the wealth equation. Just as small, consistent savings grow exponentially over time, small improvements in earning and keeping money create dramatic long-term results. A £100 monthly increase in income combined with £100 monthly reduction in expenses creates £2,400 additional wealth-building capacity annually. What specific steps could you take this month to increase your income by even £50 while reducing expenses by the same amount? The combination of smart earning and smarter keeping creates sustainable wealth-building momentum that transforms financial futures through deliberate, consistent action. Part 4. Lessons from Everyday Millionaires. The most surprising discovery about millionaires is how ordinary they appear. They don't drive the flashiest cars or wear designer clothes. Instead, they quietly build wealth through simple, consistent habits that anyone can adopt. These everyday millionaires share common patterns in how they think about money, make decisions, and prioritize their financial future. Their stories reveal that becoming wealthy isn't about earning massive salaries or taking huge risks. It's about making smart choices day after day, year after year. Sarah Thompson worked as a school teacher for 30 years. When she retired, her colleagues were shocked to learn she had accumulated over £800,000 in investments. Her secret wasn't a high salary or lucky inheritance. Sarah lived on 70% of her income from day one, automatically investing the remaining 30% in low-cost index funds. She drove her car for 12 years, bought clothes at sales, and cooked most meals at home. While her friends upgraded their lifestyles with every pay raise, Sarah maintained her spending and invested the difference. What spending habits might be preventing you from building wealth like Sarah did? The research reveals that most everyday millionaires follow surprisingly similar budgeting approaches. They track every expense, not obsessively, but consistently. David Chen, who built his wealth through his plumbing business, spent 15 minutes each Sunday reviewing the previous week's expenses. This simple habit helped him identify unnecessary spending and redirect money toward investments. He discovered he was spending £200 monthly on convenience purchases, coffee, snacks, and impulse buys. By reducing this by half, he created an additional £1,200 annually for his investment account. These successful wealth builders approach investing with patience rather than excitement. They prefer boring, predictable investments over flashy opportunities. Mary Rodriguez, who accumulated £1.2 million as a nurse, invested exclusively in broad market index funds for 25 years. She ignored market volatility, continuing her monthly contributions even during downturns. When colleagues panicked during market crashes, Mary saw opportunities to buy more shares at lower prices. Debt avoidance emerges as another common thread among everyday millionaires. They treat debt as wealth's enemy, paying off mortgages early and avoiding credit card balances. Tom Williams, a factory supervisor, paid an extra £200 monthly toward his mortgage principal. This simple strategy saved him £47,000 in interest and freed up his largest monthly expense 15 years early. The money previously going to mortgage payments then flowed directly into investments. How could paying extra toward your largest debt change your financial trajectory? Risk management among these wealth builders focuses on avoiding big losses rather than chasing big gains. They understand that losing 50% of investments requires a 100% gain just to break even. This perspective leads them to diversify investments and maintain emergency funds covering 6 to 12 months of expenses. Jennifer Martinez, who built wealth as a government employee, kept her emergency fund in a high-yield savings account, resisting the temptation to invest it for higher returns. The attitude toward lifestyle inflation sets everyday millionaires apart from their peers. While most people increase spending with income growth, these wealth builders maintain stable living costs and invest raises and bonuses. Robert Taylor, an accountant, lived in the same modest home for 20 years, despite multiple promotions. His housing costs remained constant while his income doubled, creating massive wealth-building capacity. Opportunity recognition among everyday millionaires often involves seeing value where others see inconvenience. They view market downturns as sales rather than disasters. They see used cars as transportation rather than status symbols. They view home cooking as wealth-building rather than drudgery. This mindset shift transforms everyday decisions into wealth-building opportunities. HTML case study: the Johnson family budget. Monthly income £4,500, housing 900%, transportation £400 9%, food £500 11%, utilities £200 4%, insurance 153%, savings investments 1,350%, discretionary 1,023%, built £650,000 over 18 years. The Johnson family demonstrates typical everyday millionaire allocation patterns. They prioritize saving and investing before discretionary spending, treating wealth building as a fixed expense rather than what's left over. These real-world examples prove that wealth building doesn't require extraordinary circumstances or abilities. It requires consistency, patience, and the discipline to make smart financial choices repeatedly over time. The path to financial independence lies not in earning more money than everyone else, but in keeping and investing more of what you earn. Chapter 3: Family, Friends, and Money. Part 1: Passing down wisdom, not just wealth. Teaching children about money wisely creates generations of financially responsible adults. Most wealthy families understand that passing down financial wisdom matters more than simply leaving behind bank accounts. This approach builds strong family foundations where money discussions happen naturally and children learn practical skills early. Parents who focus on teaching values alongside dollars create lasting legacies that compound over time. The strategies explored here help families develop systems for sharing knowledge, having meaningful conversations, and modeling behaviors that lead to long-term financial success and family harmony. The Johnson family discovered this truth when their teenage daughter asked why they drove older cars while neighbors bought new ones every few years. Instead of dismissing the question, they used it as a teaching moment. They explained how choosing reliable used vehicles allowed them to invest the difference, showing her their growing investment accounts and explaining compound interest through real numbers. This conversation sparked regular family money talks that transformed their daughter's understanding of wealth building. Smart parents recognize that children absorb financial attitudes through daily observations. When kids see parents comparing prices at the grocery store, discussing family budgets openly, or celebrating savings milestones, they internalize these behaviors naturally. The Thompson family holds monthly family meetings where everyone discusses upcoming expenses, shares money goals, and reviews progress together. Their 8-year-old now asks whether purchases are needs or wants, demonstrating how early exposure shapes thinking patterns. Have you considered what money messages your daily actions send to the children around you? These unconscious lessons often prove more powerful than formal conversations. Creating age-appropriate learning experiences helps children grasp financial concepts gradually. Younger children benefit from simple cash transactions and piggy bank systems that make saving visible and tangible. The Martinez family gives their 6-year-old 3 jars labeled Spend, Save, and Share, dividing allowance money equally among them. This system teaches basic allocation principles while making abstract concepts concrete through physical separation. Older children can handle more complex scenarios involving bank accounts, interest calculations, and comparison shopping. The Wilson family includes their teenagers in major purchase decisions, from researching car insurance rates to comparing college costs. These real-world experiences provide practical education that textbooks cannot match while building confidence in financial decision-making. Teaching moments emerge naturally during everyday activities. Grocery shopping becomes math practice when children calculate unit prices or track spending against budgets. Family vacations offer opportunities to discuss travel costs, budget trade-offs, and planning ahead for large expenses. The Chen family turns their annual vacation planning into a 6-month family project where everyone researches options, compares prices, and contributes ideas for staying within budget while maximizing enjoyment. Case study: the Robinson Family Money Education System. The Robinson family developed a comprehensive approach after realizing their children had unrealistic expectations about money. They started with weekly allowances tied to age-appropriate chores, requiring children to allocate portions for savings, spending, and charity. They opened savings accounts for each child, visiting the bank together monthly to make deposits and track interest growth. Family grocery trips became learning labs where children compared prices, used calculators, and stayed within assigned budgets for specific items. By high school, their children managed clothing allowances, compared insurance quotes for first cars, and understood how credit scores worked. Today, all 3 children are financially independent adults who credit these early lessons for their success. Open communication about family financial goals creates shared understanding and buy-in from all family members. Parents who hide money discussions often raise children with unrealistic expectations or unnecessary fears about finances. The Davis family shares their annual goals each January, explaining how they plan to save for home improvements, vacation funds, and emergency reserves. Their children understand why certain purchases wait and feel proud contributing to family objectives through their own small savings efforts. What financial lessons did you learn from your family, and which ones do you want to pass along or change for the next generation? Modeling delayed gratification teaches children that valuable things often require patience and planning. When parents demonstrate saving for larger purchases instead of using credit cards immediately, children learn powerful lessons about prioritizing and planning ahead. The Kumar family saved publicly for 18 months to replace their aging couch, involving their children in researching options, comparing features, and celebrating when they finally made the cash purchase. Addressing money mistakes openly shows children that everyone makes errors and can learn from them. Parents who admit to overspending occasionally or explain how they recovered from financial setbacks normalize the learning process and reduce shame around money discussions. The Anderson family shared how they once accumulated credit card debt and worked together to pay it off, explaining specific strategies they used and lessons learned about avoiding similar situations. Teaching children about earning money through age-appropriate work builds understanding of the connection between effort and reward. Whether through allowances tied to responsibilities, small entrepreneurial ventures, or part-time jobs for teenagers, earning experiences teach valuable lessons about work ethic and money's true value. The Garcia family's children run small businesses during summer months, from lemonade stands to lawn care services, learning about customer service, profit margins, and business expenses firsthand. Regular family financial check-ins create accountability and celebration opportunities. Monthly meetings where family members share financial wins, challenges, and upcoming goals keep money conversations positive and ongoing. These sessions build teamwork around family financial objectives while teaching children that money management requires attention and adjustment over time. The greatest gift parents can give children involves teaching them to fish financially rather than simply providing fish. Children who understand budgeting, saving, investing, and smart spending habits enter adulthood with tools that serve them throughout their lives. This wisdom creates generational wealth that extends far beyond bank account balances, building families capable of making sound financial decisions across decades and circumstances. Part 2. Teaching kids about money. Building your child's financial confidence starts with simple, engaging activities that make money concepts feel natural rather than overwhelming. When children learn about money through games, hands-on experiences, and real-world practice, they develop skills that protect them from financial mistakes later in life. Parents who make money education fun and consistent raise children who understand the difference between wants and needs, appreciate the value of saving, and make thoughtful spending decisions throughout their lives. Teaching young children about money begins with concrete experiences they can touch and see. A 5-year-old learns more from counting actual coins than from abstract discussions about saving. Sarah, a mother of 3, started giving her children clear jars instead of piggy banks so they could watch their savings grow visually. Each week, her children would count their money and celebrate reaching small milestones like saving $10 or $25. The clear jar method works because children need visual proof of progress. When 7-year-old Marcus could see his quarters and dollar bills accumulating, saving became exciting rather than boring. His mother helped him set a goal to buy a toy that cost $15. Every week, Marcus would count his money and calculate how much more he needed. This simple exercise taught him patience, goal setting, and basic math skills simultaneously. Age-appropriate allowances provide excellent teaching opportunities when structured properly. Rather than giving money freely, successful parents tie allowances to age-appropriate responsibilities. 8-year-old children might earn money by keeping their rooms clean, while 12-year-olds might manage lawn care or pet feeding duties. This approach connects money to work effort, building a healthy relationship between earning and spending. How do you currently handle money conversations with the children in your life, and what opportunities exist to make these discussions more engaging? Smart parents divide allowances into 3 categories: saving, spending, and sharing. The Peterson family uses 3 separate containers for each child's allowance. 25% goes into long-term savings, 50% becomes available for immediate spending, and 25% supports charitable giving or helping others. This system teaches children to balance different money priorities from an early age. Real shopping experiences offer powerful learning moments when parents involve children in decision-making. Before grocery shopping, 10-year-old Emma helps her father create a budget and shopping list. At the store, she compares prices, calculates costs, and helps make choices between different brands. These experiences teach practical math skills while demonstrating how families make spending decisions within budget constraints. Restaurant visits become teaching opportunities when parents explain menu prices and help children calculate costs. When 12-year-old David wants an expensive meal, his parents help him understand the trade-offs involved. They explain how choosing the $15 meal means having less money for other activities that week. This approach teaches children to consider opportunity costs without making them feel guilty about their choices. Games make financial education enjoyable while building important skills. Board games like Monopoly teach children about property ownership, rent collection, and financial consequences. Payday introduces concepts about monthly expenses and irregular income. Even simple card games that involve counting and basic strategy help children develop money-related thinking skills. Digital games and apps designed for financial education engage tech-savvy children while teaching important concepts. Parents should choose games that require children to make budgeting decisions, save for goals, and understand spending consequences. The key involves finding games that challenge children without overwhelming them with complex financial concepts. Addressing peer pressure requires honest conversations about family values and spending decisions. When children complain that their friends have expensive items they cannot afford, parents should acknowledge these feelings while explaining family financial priorities. Rather than dismissing concerns, successful parents help children understand that different families make different choices based on their circumstances and values. The Martinez family handled this challenge when their teenage daughter wanted expensive sneakers that all her friends owned. Instead of simply saying no, they helped her understand the family's financial goals and offered alternatives. She could save her allowance to buy the shoes herself, or choose less expensive options that still looked good. This approach taught her to evaluate wants versus needs while respecting her desire to fit in with friends. What strategies might help children in your life understand the difference between marketing messages and genuine value when making purchase decisions? Teaching children to recognize advertising manipulation builds critical thinking skills that serve them throughout life. Parents can watch commercials with children and discuss the techniques advertisers use to create desire for products. When children understand that advertisements are designed to make them want things, they become more thoughtful about purchase decisions. Practical money management starts with age-appropriate responsibilities that grow over time. Young children might manage their school lunch money for a week, while teenagers might handle clothing budgets or car expenses. Each new responsibility teaches children to plan ahead, make choices, and live with consequences of their decisions. The Johnson family gradually increased their teenagers' financial responsibilities over 2 years. At 14, Katie managed her entertainment budget. At 15, she took responsibility for clothing purchases within a set amount. By 16, she managed car insurance payments and gas money. This gradual approach prepared her for college financial independence, while providing safety nets when she made mistakes. Teaching children about compound interest and long-term saving creates motivation for patient money management. When parents show children how small amounts saved regularly can grow into large sums over time, saving becomes more compelling. Simple calculations demonstrate how saving $50 per year from age 10 to 18 creates significant money for college or other goals. Successful money education requires consistency rather than perfection. Parents who make money conversations normal parts of family life raise children comfortable with financial topics. These children ask questions, make mistakes in safe environments, and develop confidence in their ability to manage money responsibly. The goal involves raising children who understand money as a tool for achieving their goals, rather than a source of stress or confusion. Part 3. Navigating peer pressure and lifestyle creep. Understanding social pressures around money can make the difference between financial freedom and decades of debt. The habits that lead to wealth often clash with what society expects us to display. This creates a constant tension between doing what looks impressive and doing what builds real security. Many people find themselves trapped in cycles of spending that feel necessary but drain their ability to save and invest. Learning to resist these pressures while maintaining healthy relationships requires specific skills and strategies. This section provides practical tools for staying focused on your financial goals while managing the social aspects of money decisions. Sarah earned her first promotion at age 25 and immediately felt pressure to upgrade her lifestyle. Her colleagues drove newer cars, wore expensive clothes, and ate lunch at trendy restaurants daily. Within 6 months, her increased income disappeared into higher rent, car payments, and dining expenses. Despite earning more money, she had less in savings than before the promotion. This story repeats itself millions of times each year as people mistake income increases for permission to spend more. The wealthy individuals studied in extensive research showed different patterns. They often drove older, reliable cars and lived in modest homes relative to their income. Their neighbors frequently had no idea about their substantial net worth because they avoided flashy displays of wealth. These millionaires understood that every dollar spent on status symbols meant one less dollar working toward financial independence. Consider how peer pressure operates in your daily life. Friends suggest expensive restaurants, vacations, or activities that stretch your budget. Family members expect certain gifts during holidays or special occasions. Coworkers discuss purchases and lifestyle choices that create subtle pressure to match their spending patterns. Social media amplifies these pressures by showing carefully curated versions of other people's lives, complete with expensive purchases and luxury experiences. The concept of lifestyle creep describes how spending gradually increases to match income growth. This happens so slowly that people rarely notice until they realize their larger paychecks provide no additional financial security. A common pattern involves young professionals who start with basic apartments and simple meals, then progressively upgrade their housing, dining, entertainment, and transportation costs as their careers advance. How often do you find yourself spending money to fit in with others, rather than because you truly want or need something? This question reveals the powerful influence of social expectations on financial decisions. Building resistance to peer pressure starts with clarity about your personal financial goals. People who write down specific savings targets and timeline goals find it easier to decline expensive social activities. They can honestly say they are working toward buying a house, paying off debt, or building an emergency fund. Having concrete goals makes abstract concepts like financial discipline feel more meaningful and urgent. The strategy of proposing alternatives works well in many social situations. Instead of expensive restaurants, suggest cooking together at home. Rather than costly entertainment venues, recommend free or low-cost activities like hiking, visiting museums on free days, or having game nights. Most friends genuinely care more about spending time together than about the specific activity or location. Creating automatic systems removes many opportunities for peer pressure to influence spending decisions. When money automatically transfers to savings accounts immediately after each paycheck, it becomes unavailable for discretionary purchases. This approach prevents the gradual erosion of savings that occurs when people rely solely on willpower to resist social spending pressures. The practice of delaying major purchases by 24 to 48 hours helps distinguish between genuine needs and impulse decisions triggered by social influences. During this waiting period, many people realize they were responding to external pressure rather than internal motivation. This simple pause often prevents purchases that would later cause financial stress or regret. One successful approach involves finding friends who share similar financial values. These relationships provide natural support for money-saving behaviors rather than pressure to overspend. People in these groups often share tips for finding good deals, suggest budget-friendly activities, and celebrate each other's progress toward financial goals. The Millionaire research revealed that wealthy individuals often socialize differently than their high-spending counterparts. They hosted dinner parties at home rather than meeting at expensive restaurants. They organized outdoor activities, attended community events, and found entertainment options that cost little but provided genuine enjoyment and relationship building. What would change in your social life if you prioritized financial goals over keeping up appearances? This reflection helps identify specific areas where external pressures might be affecting your spending decisions. Learning to communicate about money requires practice and confidence. Many people avoid discussing financial limitations because they fear judgment or exclusion from social groups. However, honest communication often reveals that friends face similar pressures and would welcome more budget-conscious social options. The key involves framing conversations around positive goals rather than restrictions or complaints about money. The long-term perspective helps maintain motivation when peer pressure feels overwhelming. People who regularly calculate the future value of money saved today find it easier to decline immediate spending opportunities. For example, $500 spent on a weekend trip might grow to several $1,000s over 20 years when invested properly. Successful individuals often develop standard responses to common social spending pressures. They might say they are saving for a specific goal, suggest alternative activities, or simply decline invitations that exceed their budget. Having prepared responses prevents awkward moments and reduces the likelihood of making impulsive financial decisions under social pressure. The path to financial independence requires making choices that sometimes differ from what friends, family, or colleagues expect. However, the research consistently shows that people who resist lifestyle inflation and peer pressure build significantly more wealth over their lifetimes than those who prioritize immediate social approval over long-term financial security. Part 4. Building a supportive money community. Your financial journey becomes significantly easier when you surround yourself with people who understand and support your money goals. Building a community of like-minded individuals creates a powerful foundation for long-term financial success. These relationships provide accountability, motivation, and practical wisdom that can make the difference between reaching your financial dreams and falling short. Unlike social circles that encourage spending and consumption, a supportive money community celebrates saving, investing, and smart financial decisions. This network becomes your shield against negative influences and your source of inspiration during challenging times. Sarah discovered this truth during her transformation from a big spender to a dedicated saver. For years, she struggled to build an emergency fund while her college friends continued their expensive weekend routines. Every Friday night brought pressure to join costly dinners and weekend trips that derailed her savings goals. The turning point came when she joined a local financial independence meetup group. Suddenly, she found herself surrounded by people who celebrated her decision to cook at home and invest the difference. The power of community support becomes evident when you examine how successful wealth builders choose their social circles. They actively seek relationships with people who share similar values about money and long-term thinking. These individuals understand that temporary sacrifices lead to permanent improvements in financial security. Finding your money community starts with identifying where financially minded people gather. Local investment clubs offer excellent opportunities to meet people serious about building wealth. Many communities have meetups focused on financial independence, early retirement, or real estate investing. Online forums and social media groups provide additional connections with people pursuing similar goals. Consider Mark, a teacher who felt isolated in his quest to save 30% of his income. His workplace colleagues often complained about money problems while spending freely on lunch outings and new gadgets. Mark joined an online community of educators focused on financial independence. Through this group, he found accountability partners who checked in weekly about savings goals and investment decisions. The community provided practical advice on maximizing his pension benefits and managing summer income gaps. What questions should you ask when evaluating potential community members for your financial journey? Look for people who demonstrate consistent saving habits, make thoughtful spending decisions, and show genuine interest in long-term wealth building rather than quick schemes. Creating your own money community sometimes proves more effective than finding existing groups. Start small by inviting 1 or 2 friends who share your financial interests. Regular monthly meetings can focus on sharing progress, discussing challenges, and learning together. These gatherings might include reviewing investment portfolios, discussing new financial strategies, or simply providing encouragement during difficult periods. The structure of effective money communities includes several key elements. Regular communication keeps members connected and accountable. Sharing both successes and setbacks creates authentic relationships built on trust. Learning opportunities through books, podcasts, or guest speakers provide ongoing education. Most importantly, non-judgmental support helps members stay motivated during challenging times. Jennifer started a neighborhood savings circle with 4 other mothers. They met monthly to discuss their progress toward various financial goals. One member focused on paying off student loans, another saved for a house down payment, and Jennifer worked toward building a 6-month emergency fund. The group celebrated small victories and provided encouragement during setbacks. Within 2 years, every member had achieved their primary financial goal. Your money community should include different types of relationships. Mentors who have achieved financial success provide guidance and wisdom. Peers at similar stages offer mutual support and accountability. Those earlier in their journey remind you of your progress and provide opportunities to share knowledge. The most successful wealth builders understand that isolation makes financial discipline much harder. They deliberately cultivate relationships that reinforce positive money habits and provide encouragement during difficult periods. These communities become sources of practical knowledge, emotional support, and accountability that traditional social circles often cannot provide. How might your current social environment be influencing your financial decisions? And what changes could you make to build more supportive relationships around money? Chapter 4. Making your money work for you. Part 1. Investing without fear. Investment feels scary to most people because they think it requires special knowledge, lots of money, or connections to Wall Street insiders. The truth is quite different. Ordinary people build wealth through simple investment strategies every day. This section will show you how regular investors overcome their fears and start building long-term wealth. You will learn why starting early matters more than starting big, how to spread risk across different investments, and why patience beats complexity. Through real stories of everyday investors, you will see that making your money grow is not reserved for experts or the wealthy. Most people avoid investing because they fear losing money. Sarah, a teacher from Ohio, felt the same way when she first heard about mutual funds. She kept her savings in a regular bank account for years, earning less than 1% interest. Meanwhile, inflation slowly ate away at her purchasing power. What changed her mind was learning that not investing was actually riskier than investing wisely. The wealthy individuals studied in research consistently demonstrate that fear should not prevent you from growing your money. They understand that inflation makes cash worth less over time. $1 today buys more than it will in 10 years. This reality makes investing a necessity rather than a luxury. Consider Mark, a mechanic who started investing $50 each month in his company's retirement plan. He worried about market crashes and economic downturns. His coworker convinced him to start small and learn gradually. After 5 years, Mark discovered that his consistent investments had grown to over $4,000 despite several market dips along the way. What fears about money are holding you back from taking action today? Starting early provides a massive advantage that cannot be replicated later. Time allows your money to compound, meaning you earn returns on your returns. A 25-year-old who invests $200 monthly until age 35 will likely have more money at retirement than someone who starts at 35 and invests the same amount until age 65. Jessica learned this lesson from her grandmother, who started buying shares in solid companies during the 1960s. Her grandmother never earned a high salary, but she consistently invested small amounts for decades. By retirement, these modest investments had grown into a substantial nest egg that funded comfortable golden years. The key principle wealthy people follow is diversification. This means spreading money across different types of investments, rather than putting everything in one place. Think of it like planting a garden with various crops. If one type fails, others will still provide a harvest. Tom, a postal worker, applies this principle by dividing his investments among 3 categories. He puts some money in stock funds that invest in many different companies. He places other money in bond funds that lend to governments and corporations. He also keeps some funds in international investments to capture growth in other countries. This approach protects Tom from major losses while allowing steady growth. When stock markets decline, his bonds often hold steady. When one country's economy struggles, others may prosper. This balance helps him sleep well at night while his money grows over time. How could you start spreading your investments across different areas to reduce risk? Many people believe successful investing requires constant attention and frequent trading. Wealthy individuals demonstrate the opposite approach. They choose quality investments and hold them for years or decades. This strategy reduces costs, minimizes taxes, and eliminates the stress of timing market movements. Linda, a nurse practitioner, follows this patient approach. She selects broad market index funds that own hundreds of companies and holds them regardless of daily market movements. Over 15 years, this simple strategy has steadily built her wealth while requiring minimal time and effort. The mathematics of long-term investing work powerfully in your favor. Money invested at 7% annual returns doubles approximately every 10 years. This means patience literally multiplies your wealth without additional effort from you. Starting your investment journey requires only 3 simple steps. First, determine how much you can invest regularly without straining your budget. Even $25 monthly makes a meaningful difference over time. Second, choose simple, diversified investment options like target date funds or broad market index funds. These require no special expertise while providing professional management. Third, set up automatic investments so money moves from your checking account to investments without requiring monthly decisions. Many successful investors emphasize that perfection is not required. You do not need to find the best possible investments or time the market perfectly. Consistent action with good enough choices beats waiting for perfect conditions that never arrive. The stories of ordinary people building wealth through patient investing should inspire confidence rather than fear. Their success comes not from special knowledge or large starting amounts, but from taking action and staying consistent over time. Your journey toward financial independence can begin with your very next paycheck. Part 2. Avoiding common money traps. Even the most careful investors can lose their hard-earned wealth by falling into common financial traps. These pitfalls catch millions of Americans every year, turning their dreams of financial independence into nightmares of debt and regret. Understanding these traps before you encounter them can save you decades of financial struggle. The wealthy individuals studied in groundbreaking research share one important trait. They avoid these costly mistakes that destroy wealth faster than any investment can build it. Learning to recognize and sidestep these traps is just as important as knowing how to invest wisely. High-interest debt represents the most dangerous trap for building wealth. Credit card companies make their profits from people who carry balances month after month. Consider Sarah, a teacher who earned $45,000 annually and managed to save $200 each month. She felt proud of her discipline until she started using credit cards for small purchases. Within 2 years, she carried $8,000 in credit card debt at 24% interest. Her monthly payments of $320 exceeded her savings, effectively erasing years of progress. The mathematics work against anyone carrying high-interest debt. While investments might grow at 8% annually, credit card debt grows at rates 3 times higher. The most effective strategy involves paying off high-interest debt before investing. This approach guarantees an immediate return equal to the interest rate you avoid paying. Sarah eventually realized this truth and redirected her monthly savings toward debt payments. Within 3 years, she eliminated her debt and resumed building wealth. Her story illustrates why wealthy individuals rarely carry credit card balances. Get-rich-quick schemes present another serious threat to financial progress. These schemes promise extraordinary returns with minimal effort or risk. They appear in many forms: cryptocurrency schemes, penny stock tips, real estate seminars promising instant wealth, or business opportunities requiring upfront payments. The psychology behind these traps exploits our desire for shortcuts and our fear of missing out on opportunities. Tom, a factory worker, spent $15,000 attending real estate seminars and purchasing expensive courses. The instructors promised he could flip houses with no money down and earn 6-figure incomes within months. After 2 years of trying their methods, Tom lost his entire investment and nearly his home. Meanwhile, his co-worker Maria consistently invested that same amount in index funds and saw steady growth. The difference between their outcomes highlights a crucial principle. Legitimate wealth building requires time and patience, not secrets or shortcuts. How often do you find yourself attracted to investment opportunities that promise unusually high returns? This question helps identify your vulnerability to these schemes. Legitimate investments carry risks proportional to their potential returns. When someone promises high returns with low risk, they are either lying or do not understand the investment themselves. Emotional spending destroys wealth through impulse purchases and lifestyle inflation. This trap catches people during both good times and bad times. During good times, people celebrate with expensive purchases. During bad times, they spend money to feel better. Both patterns prevent wealth accumulation. Consider the story of Mike and Jennifer, a couple earning $85,000 combined. They saved diligently for 5 years and accumulated $25,000. Then Mike received a promotion with a $10,000 raise. Instead of increasing their savings rate, they upgraded their car, moved to a more expensive apartment, and increased their dining budget. Their savings rate actually decreased despite earning more money. This pattern, called lifestyle inflation, prevents most middle-income families from building wealth. Successful wealth builders maintain their spending levels even when their income increases. They direct additional income toward investments rather than lifestyle upgrades. This approach requires conscious effort because our natural tendency involves spending any extra money we receive. Status spending represents a specific type of emotional spending that particularly damages wealth building. Many people purchase expensive cars, clothes, and gadgets to project success rather than because they need these items. The research shows that truly wealthy individuals often drive older cars and live in modest homes. They understand that looking wealthy and being wealthy are completely different things. The social pressure to spend money on status symbols intensifies with social media. People see carefully curated images of others' lives and feel pressure to match their apparent lifestyle. This pressure leads to debt accumulation and prevents real wealth building. Recognizing this trap helps you make spending decisions based on your values rather than others' expectations. Recovery from these traps requires specific strategies. First, acknowledge the mistake without shame or excessive self-criticism. Everyone makes financial errors, including wealthy individuals. The difference lies in learning from mistakes and changing behavior quickly. Create a clear plan for addressing any damage. If you accumulated debt, calculate exactly how much you owe and create a payment schedule. If you lost money in a scheme, accept the loss and refocus on proven wealth-building methods. If emotional spending caused problems, identify your triggers and develop alternative responses. What specific situations trigger your worst financial decisions? Understanding your personal patterns helps you prepare better responses for future challenges. Some people spend when stressed, others when celebrating, and some when feeling social pressure. Building wealth requires protecting yourself from these common traps while consistently following proven strategies. The path to financial independence involves many small, consistent actions rather than dramatic moves or shortcuts. By avoiding these traps, you can focus your energy and resources on the reliable methods that actually build lasting wealth over time. Part 3. Letting time grow your wealth. Letting time grow your wealth. Time is the secret weapon that separates millionaires from those who struggle financially. This force works quietly in the background, turning small amounts of money into substantial wealth through a mathematical principle called compounding. When you understand how time multiplies your money, you will see why patience beats speed in building wealth. The stories and calculations in this section will show you exactly how ordinary people create extraordinary wealth simply by starting early and staying consistent. You will learn why trying to get rich quickly often leads to getting poor slowly, and how trusting time to do the heavy lifting can make you wealthy. The mathematics of compounding creates wealth in ways that seem almost magical. When you invest money, you earn returns not just on your original investment, but also on all the returns you have earned in previous years. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow and grows larger. The longer the hill, the bigger the snowball becomes. Consider Sarah, a 25-year-old teacher who starts investing $200 every month in a simple index fund. By age 65, assuming a 7% annual return, she will have contributed $96,000 of her own money. However, her account will contain over $525,000. The extra $429,000 came entirely from compounding. Now imagine her friend Mike, who waits until age 35 to start investing the same $200 monthly. Even though Mike contributes for 30 years compared to Sarah's 40, his final balance reaches only about $245,000. Those extra 10 years gave Sarah more than double Mike's wealth. The power becomes even more dramatic with larger amounts and longer time frames. A single $10,000 investment at age 25, left alone until retirement, grows to over $210,000 by age 65. That same investment started at age 35 only reaches about $110,000. Time literally doubles the outcome in this case. What specific amount could you start investing today, even if it seems small? Remember that the amount matters less than the time you give it to grow. Real millionaires understand this principle instinctively. They resist the temptation to chase hot stocks or market trends because they know consistency beats cleverness. Market timing, the practice of trying to buy low and sell high, sounds logical, but fails repeatedly in practice. Even professional fund managers struggle to time markets successfully year after year. The stock market experiences ups and downs regularly, but its long-term direction has been consistently upward for over a century. From 1926 to 2020, the S&P 500 averaged about 10% annual returns, despite numerous crashes, recessions, and crises. Investors who stayed invested through all the turmoil captured these returns. Those who tried to jump in and out based on market predictions often missed the best days and earned far less. Consider the case of Bob, who invested $100,000 in 1980 and never touched it. By 2020, his investment grew to over $4 million. His neighbor Jim started with the same amount but moved his money in and out of the market based on news and predictions. Despite being actively involved in his investments, Jim's account barely reached $1.2 million over the same period. The difference came down to patience versus panic. Bob trusted time to work its magic, while Jim let emotions and market noise derail his strategy. When markets dropped, Bob saw sales on quality companies. When Jim saw drops, he saw danger and often sold at the worst possible moments. Consistency proves more valuable than perfection in investing. A person who invests $500 monthly for 30 years, even earning modest 6% returns, accumulates over $500,000. This happens regardless of whether they pick the best stocks or just invest in simple index funds. The key lies in never stopping the monthly contributions and never trying to outsmart the system. How might your life change if you committed to investing a fixed amount every month for the next 20 years, regardless of depth? What happens in the news? The biggest enemy of long-term wealth building is the desire for quick results. Get-rich-quick schemes appeal to our impatience, but they typically lead to losses rather than gains. Real wealth accumulation feels boring because nothing dramatic happens day to day. Your account grows slowly and steadily, without fireworks or excitement. This boring approach actually creates the most excitement in the long run. After 10 years of consistent investing, you start noticing that your investment returns exceed your contributions. After 20 years, the returns dwarf your contributions. After 30 years, the compounding effect creates more wealth in a single year than you contributed in the first several years combined. Trust in this process requires understanding that short-term volatility means nothing in the context of long-term wealth building. Markets will crash during your investing journey. Your account balance will sometimes drop significantly. These temporary setbacks are the price you pay for long-term gains, not signals to abandon your strategy. The millionaires next door became wealthy not through superior intelligence or lucky breaks, but through patient consistency. They started early, invested regularly, and let time transform their modest contributions into substantial wealth. Their secret was not speed but endurance, not cleverness but commitment. Part 4. Staying the course. When life gets tough, financial success faces its greatest test not during good times, but when life throws curveballs your way. Job losses, medical emergencies, economic downturns, and personal crises will challenge every financial habit you've built. This section reveals how ordinary millionaires maintain their discipline through storms that destroyed others' wealth. You'll discover practical strategies for protecting your progress, adapting your approach without abandoning your goals, and emerging stronger from setbacks. These time-tested methods separate those who build lasting wealth from those who see their dreams crumble at the first sign of trouble. When Sarah lost her marketing job in 2008, she faced a choice that millions of Americans confronted during the financial crisis. Her retirement account had dropped by 40%, her emergency fund was the only thing keeping her afloat, and friends advised her to cash out her investments to avoid further losses. Instead, she remembered the advice that had guided her for years. Temporary problems require temporary solutions, not permanent changes to your wealth-building strategy. Sarah reduced her expenses to match her unemployment benefits, took a part-time job at a local bookstore, and continued her monthly investment contributions at a reduced amount. Most importantly, she resisted the urge to sell her investments when they were down. 2 years later, when she found a better job than the one she had lost, her account balance had recovered and grown beyond its previous high. The investments she made during the downturn, when prices were low, became some of her most profitable purchases. Think about this. What would you do if your income dropped by half tomorrow? Having a clear plan before crisis strikes makes the difference between panic and purposeful action. The research behind The Millionaire Next Door reveals that wealthy individuals share one crucial trait during difficult times. They separate emotions from financial decisions. When markets crash, they don't see catastrophe but opportunity. When income drops, they adjust expenses rather than abandon their investment plans. When unexpected bills arrive, they use emergency funds rather than debt. Consider the story of Tom, a factory worker who faced 3 major setbacks in a single decade. First, his company downsized and cut his hours by 30%. Then, his wife required expensive medical treatment not fully covered by insurance. Finally, their home needed major repairs after storm damage. Each crisis could have destroyed his financial progress, but Tom had built resilience into his system. Before the first setback, Tom had established an emergency fund covering 6 months of expenses. When his hours were cut, he immediately reduced discretionary spending and took a weekend job delivering furniture. He continued his retirement contributions, but at a lower amount. When medical bills arrived, he negotiated payment plans rather than using credit cards. For the home repairs, he handled what he could himself and got multiple quotes for professional work. Tom's response illustrates a key principle: flexibility in tactics while maintaining consistency in strategy. He adjusted his approach to match his circumstances, but never abandoned his commitment to building wealth. 5 years after these challenges, his net worth had grown despite the setbacks because he protected his foundation while adapting his methods. HTML Emergency Fund, reduced expenses, maintained investments, equals financial survival. Economic downturns create unique psychological pressures that test financial discipline. Media coverage amplifies fear, friends share horror stories, and your own account statements seem to confirm the worst predictions. During these periods, successful wealth builders follow a simple but powerful framework: assess, adapt, and advance. Assessment means understanding your actual situation rather than your emotional reaction to it. Write down your current income, expenses, debts, and assets. Calculate how long your emergency fund will last at different spending levels. Determine which expenses are truly necessary and which are habits you can temporarily change. Adaptation involves making targeted adjustments that preserve your long-term strategy while addressing immediate needs. This might mean reducing investment contributions rather than stopping them entirely, taking additional work rather than depleting savings, or negotiating with creditors rather than ignoring bills. How long could you maintain your current lifestyle if your income stopped today? This simple calculation reveals whether you're prepared for financial storms or vulnerable to the first strong wind. Advancement requires recognizing opportunities that difficult times create. Market downturns offer investment bargains. Economic uncertainty creates job openings as competition decreases, and personal setbacks often reveal strengths you didn't know you possessed. The millionaires studied maintained their wealth-building activities during tough times because they understood temporary challenges create lasting opportunities. The story of Maria demonstrates this principle clearly. When the restaurant where she worked as a manager closed during the pandemic, she used her severance pay and unemployment benefits to start a catering business from her home kitchen. While friends depleted their savings trying to maintain pre-crisis lifestyles, Maria adapted her skills to new circumstances. Her business grew steadily, and within 2 years she was earning more than her previous job paid while building equity in her own company. Recovery from setbacks often depends more on mindset than resources. People who maintain wealth through difficulties share several mental approaches. They view setbacks as temporary rather than permanent, focus on what they can control rather than what they cannot, and measure progress over years rather than months. When progress seems slow or non-existent, remember that wealth building resembles growing a tree more than building a house. Trees grow slowly and imperceptibly most of the time, but they also bend without breaking when storms arrive. Houses built quickly often collapse when tested by severe weather. Your financial foundation gains strength from surviving challenges, not from avoiding them. The most successful wealth builders treat setbacks as education rather than failure. Each difficulty teaches lessons about budgeting, investing, risk management, and personal resilience. These lessons become tools for handling future challenges more effectively. Every storm weathered increases your confidence and capability for the next one. Remember that setbacks are temporary, but the habits you build last forever. Your response to today's challenges determines whether you emerge stronger or weaker when better times return. Chapter 5: The Millionaire Mindset. Part 1: Setting Realistic Goals. The path to financial independence becomes clearer when you transform vague wishes into specific, measurable targets. Many people dream of becoming wealthy but never define what wealth means to them or create a roadmap to get there. This section reveals how successful wealth builders set realistic goals that actually work. You will discover a proven framework for identifying your true priorities, breaking down ambitious dreams into daily actions, and tracking progress in ways that keep you motivated. Through real stories of ordinary people who achieved extraordinary results, you will gain the confidence and tools needed to create your own financial success story. Most wealthy individuals did not stumble into prosperity by accident. They followed a deliberate process that began with setting clear financial goals. Sarah Chen, a school teacher from Ohio, exemplifies this approach. In 2015, she earned $42,000 annually and had just $3,000 in savings. Instead of simply wishing for more money, she wrote down a specific goal: save $100,000 within 7 years. This clarity changed everything about how she approached money. The first step in effective goal setting involves defining what financial success means to you personally. For some, it might mean having 6 months of expenses saved. For others, it could be owning a home without a mortgage or accumulating enough investments to generate passive income. Sarah's definition was straightforward. She wanted enough money to feel secure and have options if she lost her job. What does financial security mean to you, and how will you know when you have achieved it? This question forces you to move beyond general wishes and create specific targets that guide your decisions. Breaking large goals into smaller, manageable pieces makes them less overwhelming and more achievable. Sarah divided her $100,000 goal into annual targets of approximately $14,300, which meant saving about $1,200 monthly. This seemed impossible at first, but she further broke it down into weekly amounts of roughly $75. Suddenly, the massive goal became a series of smaller challenges she could tackle 1 week at a time. The most effective approach involves creating 3 levels of goals: short-term, within 1 year; medium-term, 2 to 5 years; and long-term, beyond 5 years. Each level serves a different purpose. Short-term goals build momentum and confidence. Medium-term goals maintain focus during challenging periods. Long-term goals provide the bigger vision that makes daily sacrifices worthwhile. Consider Marcus Rodriguez, a mechanic who started with $50,000 in debt at age 35. His long-term goal was to become debt-free and accumulate $500,000 by retirement. His medium-term goal focused on eliminating all debt within 4 years. His short-term goals included paying off 1 credit card every 6 months and increasing his income through weekend side jobs. Tracking progress regularly keeps goals alive and maintains motivation. Sarah created a simple spreadsheet that showed her monthly savings progress. Every time she updated the numbers, she could see how much closer she had moved toward her target. This visual reminder reinforced her commitment and helped her make better spending decisions throughout each month. The key lies in choosing tracking methods that feel natural and sustainable. Some people prefer detailed spreadsheets, while others use simple notebook entries or smartphone apps. The specific method matters less than consistency in monitoring your progress. Celebrating milestones along the way prevents goal fatigue and maintains enthusiasm. When Sarah reached her first $25,000, she allowed herself a modest celebration dinner. This acknowledgement of progress boosted her confidence and reminded her that the goal was achievable. She continued this practice at each $25,000 milestone, always choosing rewards that supported rather than undermined her financial objectives. Life changes, and goals must adapt accordingly. After 3 years, Sarah received a promotion that increased her income significantly. Instead of abandoning her original plan, she adjusted her timeline and increased her target to $150,000. This flexibility prevented her from viewing changed circumstances as failure and kept her moving forward with renewed energy. Marcus faced a different challenge when an unexpected medical bill threatened to derail his debt elimination plan. Rather than giving up, he extended his timeline by 1 year and adjusted his monthly targets. This adaptability allowed him to maintain progress despite unforeseen obstacles. The most successful goal setters regularly review and refine their objectives. They ask themselves whether their goals still align with their values and circumstances. They adjust timelines when necessary and celebrate progress even when the path looks different than originally planned. How often do you review your financial goals? And what changes in your life might require adjustments to your current plans? Regular reflection ensures your goals remain relevant and motivating rather than becoming sources of stress or discouragement. Setting realistic goals transforms financial dreams into achievable realities through clear definition, systematic breakdown, consistent tracking, and adaptive flexibility. Part 2. Embracing patience and persistence. Building wealth through patience and persistence requires understanding that financial success operates on a different timeline than most modern expectations. Real millionaires know that wealth accumulation resembles growing an oak tree rather than planting a garden flower. The roots develop slowly and invisibly before any visible growth appears above ground. This section reveals how ordinary people transform their financial futures by maintaining steady habits over decades, showing that the tortoise approach consistently beats the hare in the wealth-building race through practical strategies and mindset shifts. Most people abandon their financial plans within the first 6 months because they expect immediate results. Sarah, a teacher from Ohio, started investing just $50 monthly in her retirement account at age 25. Her friends mocked her small contributions while they spent money on expensive cars and vacations. 20 years later, Sarah's account had grown to over $80,000 through compound interest, while her friends struggled with debt. The mathematics of patience reveals why steady progress wins over sporadic bursts of activity. When you invest $100 monthly for 30 years at 7% annual returns, you end up with approximately $245,000. The same amount invested irregularly or interrupted frequently generates significantly less wealth. Consistency transforms modest contributions into substantial fortunes through the power of time. Consider how Warren Buffett accumulated his wealth. He began investing seriously in his 20s and maintained the same patient approach for over 70 years. His net worth remained relatively modest until his 50s, when decades of compound growth accelerated dramatically. Most of his wealth accumulated after age 65, proving that patience pays extraordinary dividends. Persistence means continuing when progress feels invisible. John, a mechanic from Texas, saved 10% of his income for 15 years before seeing substantial growth in his accounts. During market downturns, he continued investing while others panicked and sold their holdings. His persistence during difficult periods positioned him to benefit when markets recovered and grew. Real wealth building requires accepting that progress occurs in waves rather than straight lines. Some months, your investments lose value. Some years, your savings rate decreases due to unexpected expenses. These temporary setbacks do not indicate failure but represent normal fluctuations in any long-term financial journey. The wealthy develop systems that remove emotion from financial decisions. They automate investments, so money moves from checking to investment accounts without conscious thought. They view market volatility as opportunity rather than threat. When stock prices drop, they see sales rather than losses. Think about how you handle financial setbacks currently. Do you panic and change strategies, or do you stay committed to your long-term plan? Your response to temporary difficulties often determines whether you build lasting wealth or remain financially stagnant. Creating accountability systems helps maintain persistence during challenging periods. Lisa, a nurse from California, joined an investment club where members shared monthly progress updates. This community support helped her continue investing through personal difficulties and market downturns. Social connections provide motivation when individual willpower wavers. Measuring progress correctly prevents discouragement during slow growth periods. Instead of focusing solely on account balances, track consistent behaviors like monthly investment amounts, debt reduction payments, or expense-cutting achievements. These controllable actions lead inevitably to wealth accumulation when maintained over time. The compound effect applies beyond investments to all wealth-building activities. Reading financial books regularly expands knowledge gradually. Networking with financially successful people creates opportunities over years. Developing valuable skills increases earning potential incrementally. Small, consistent actions in multiple areas create substantial combined results. Patience and persistence work together like foundation and framework in construction. Patience provides the emotional stability to weather temporary setbacks. Persistence supplies the daily actions that build wealth systematically. Both qualities must operate simultaneously for optimal results. Remember that every wealthy person faced moments of doubt and slow progress. The difference between financial success and failure often comes down to who continues moving forward when progress feels non-existent. Your current financial position reflects past decisions and behaviors. Your future wealth depends on maintaining beneficial habits starting today. Part 3. Learning from setbacks. Every setback in your financial journey contains valuable lessons that can accelerate your path to wealth. Most millionaires faced multiple failures before achieving lasting success, and their ability to learn from mistakes set them apart from those who remain stuck in financial mediocrity. This section reveals how to transform financial setbacks into stepping stones, analyze what went wrong without self-destruction, and develop the mental toughness that wealthy individuals use to bounce back stronger. You'll discover practical frameworks for extracting maximum learning from every failure, real-world examples of people who turned disasters into fortunes, and actionable strategies to build resilience that serves you throughout your wealth-building journey. Financial setbacks arrive in many forms throughout your wealth-building journey. Market crashes wipe out investment gains. Business ventures fail despite careful planning. Job losses eliminate steady income streams. Unexpected medical bills drain emergency funds. These experiences feel devastating in the moment, but they serve a crucial purpose in developing financial wisdom. Consider Sarah, a marketing manager who lost her entire retirement savings during the 2008 financial crisis. Instead of abandoning investing forever, she spent months studying what happened. She learned about diversification, risk management, and emotional decision-making. 10 years later, her portfolio exceeded her pre-crisis levels because she applied those hard-earned lessons consistently. The key difference between those who recover from setbacks and those who don't lies in their response pattern. Successful wealth builders follow a specific process when facing financial difficulties. They first assess the damage objectively without emotional judgment. They identify specific factors that contributed to the problem. They separate controllable elements from external circumstances beyond their influence. Mark, a small business owner, discovered this process after his restaurant failed during its second year. Rather than blaming the economy or bad luck, he analyzed his decisions systematically. He realized he had underestimated operating costs, chosen a poor location, and neglected market research. His next venture succeeded because he addressed each identified weakness. How do you typically respond when financial plans don't work as expected? Your natural reaction reveals whether you're positioned for long-term wealth building or repeated frustration. Wealthy individuals treat setbacks as expensive education rather than personal failures. They understand that every mistake teaches something valuable about money management, risk assessment, or decision-making. This perspective shift changes everything about how you handle financial difficulties. The most successful investors often share stories about their worst losses. Warren Buffett lost billions during various market downturns. Real estate moguls experienced property crashes. Entrepreneurs watched businesses collapse. What matters isn't avoiding all losses, but learning from each one. Create a simple framework for extracting lessons from financial setbacks. Write down what happened without emotional language. List every decision that contributed to the outcome. Identify warning signs you missed or ignored. Determine what you would do differently with identical circumstances. This process transforms pain into practical wisdom. Jennifer learned this approach after losing money in a failed investment scheme. She documented how the promoter's promises seemed too good to be true. She noted her failure to research the company thoroughly. She recognized her emotional decision-making under time pressure. These insights helped her avoid similar traps while building a solid investment portfolio. Building resilience requires accepting that setbacks are inevitable parts of wealth building. Every wealthy person faced moments when giving up seemed reasonable. The difference between success and failure often comes down to persistence through difficult periods. Resilience grows through practice and preparation. Maintain emergency funds that cushion unexpected expenses. Diversify income sources so single job losses don't create disasters. Build supportive relationships with people who understand your financial goals. These foundations provide stability during turbulent times. What support systems do you have in place to help you weather financial storms? Strong relationships and proper planning make recovery faster and less painful. The millionaire mindset views every financial experience as data for future decisions. Bad investments teach risk assessment. Failed businesses reveal market dynamics. Job losses highlight income diversification needs. Each setback provides information that improves future choices. Many self-made millionaires describe their failures as necessary steps toward success. They couldn't have achieved their current wealth without learning lessons that only come through direct experience. Your setbacks are preparing you for opportunities that require the wisdom you're developing. Recovery speed matters as much as learning from mistakes. Wealthy individuals don't dwell on failures longer than necessary. They extract lessons quickly and focus energy on moving forward. Extended self-criticism wastes time and emotional resources better spent on productive activities. Tim lost his job and spent 6 months feeling sorry for himself. When he finally started applying lessons from his termination, he discovered better career opportunities than his previous position. The delay cost him potential earnings and growth opportunities. Your current financial challenges are temporary obstacles, not permanent barriers. Every setback contains seeds of future success if you're willing to find and nurture them. The resilience you build through difficulties becomes one of your most valuable assets on the path to lasting wealth. Part 4. Celebrating small wins. The path to building wealth requires resilience after setbacks, but equally important is your ability to recognize and celebrate progress along the way. Small victories often go unnoticed in our pursuit of larger financial goals. Yet these moments of achievement provide the motivation and confidence needed to sustain long-term efforts. Learning to acknowledge and reward your progress creates a positive feedback loop that strengthens your commitment to wealth-building habits. This section explores practical ways to celebrate achievements without compromising your financial discipline, helping you maintain momentum and find joy in every step of your wealth-building journey. Research shows that people who celebrate small wins are 31% more likely to achieve their long-term financial goals. The reason lies in how our brains respond to achievement recognition. When you acknowledge progress, your brain releases dopamine, creating positive associations with your wealth-building activities. This neurochemical reward makes you more likely to repeat the behaviors that led to success. Consider Sarah, a teacher who decided to build her emergency fund. Instead of only celebrating when she reached her full 6-month expense goal, she acknowledged each milestone. When she saved her first $500, she allowed herself a favorite home-cooked meal she hadn't made in months. At $1,500, she enjoyed a free hiking trip with friends. These celebrations cost little, but kept her motivated through the entire 18-month process. The key lies in choosing rewards that align with your financial goals, rather than working against them. Many people sabotage their progress by celebrating with expensive purchases or experiences that drain the money they just saved. Smart celebration requires creativity and intention. Free or low-cost celebration ideas work best for maintaining financial discipline. When you pay off a credit card, take a long walk in your favorite park and call a friend to share the good news. After increasing your retirement contribution, spend an evening researching your next financial goal or reading about investing strategies. These activities reinforce your wealth-building mindset while acknowledging your achievement. What small financial win from this past month deserves recognition that you might have overlooked? Time-based celebrations often provide more satisfaction than money-based rewards. Mark, a construction worker, created a tradition of sleeping in on Saturday mornings whenever he met his monthly savings target. This simple pleasure cost nothing but became something he genuinely looked forward to each month. His wife noticed how this small ritual kept him motivated to stick with their budget, even during challenging months. The timing of your celebrations matters significantly. Immediate recognition creates stronger behavioral reinforcement than delayed rewards. When you resist an impulse purchase, acknowledge that moment right away. Send yourself a text message, write in a journal, or simply take a moment to feel proud of your decision. These instant acknowledgments strengthen your self-control muscles for future situations. Creating milestone markers helps you identify celebration opportunities that might otherwise pass unnoticed. Lisa, a graphic designer, created a visual chart tracking her debt payoff progress. Every $1,000 she paid down earned a star sticker and a small celebration. This system helped her recognize achievements that felt significant enough to warrant acknowledgement but weren't major enough to celebrate naturally. Social celebration amplifies the positive effects of recognizing your progress. Sharing your wins with supportive family members or friends creates accountability and external recognition. However, choose your audience carefully. Some people feel uncomfortable discussing money, while others might minimize your achievements or offer unsolicited advice. Professional celebrations work well in workplace settings. When you receive a raise or bonus, treat yourself to a nice lunch with a colleague who supported your career growth. This approach acknowledges your achievement while building relationships that can support future success. How could you involve your closest supporters in celebrating your next financial milestone? Physical rewards that support your wealth-building journey create double benefits. After reaching a savings goal, buy a book about investing or personal finance. When you successfully stick to your budget for 3 months, purchase a quality water bottle to support your goal of reducing coffee shop visits. These rewards acknowledge progress while providing tools for continued success. The celebration doesn't need to be elaborate or expensive to be meaningful. Sometimes the most powerful acknowledgement comes from quiet reflection on how far you've traveled. Keep a simple journal where you record each small win and how it felt to achieve it. Reading past entries during difficult moments reminds you of your capability and progress. Avoiding celebration altogether creates a joyless approach to wealth building that becomes difficult to sustain long-term. Without positive reinforcement, your financial discipline becomes a source of deprivation rather than empowerment. This mindset often leads to eventual rebellion against your own goals, resulting in spending sprees or abandoned financial plans. Building celebration into your wealth-building process transforms the journey from a series of restrictions into a path of achievements worth acknowledging. Chapter 6. Your Journey Starts Here. Part 1. Crafting Your Own Wealth Story. Your financial story is more than just numbers on a bank statement. It reflects your values, dreams, and the legacy you want to leave behind. Many people drift through life without ever examining their relationship with money or defining what wealth truly means to them. This section helps you pause and reflect on your personal financial narrative. Through guided exercises and inspiring examples, you will learn to identify your strengths, address your weaknesses, and create a clear vision for your future. The goal is simple. Take ownership of your financial journey and write a story you are proud to live. Every wealthy person started somewhere. Sarah, a teacher from Ohio, began her wealth journey earning $35,000 per year. She drove a used Honda and lived in a small apartment. Many would assume building wealth was impossible on her income. Yet 20 years later, she retired with over $1.2 million in assets. Her story began when she decided to take control of her financial narrative instead of accepting limitations others placed on her. Your financial story starts with understanding your current relationship with money. Think about your earliest money memories. Did your parents argue about finances? Did they save diligently or spend freely? These experiences shape how you view wealth today. Maria, a successful business owner, realized her fear of investing stemmed from watching her parents lose their savings in a bad business deal. Once she recognized this pattern, she could address it directly. What emotions do you feel when discussing money? Excitement, fear, shame, or confidence? Write down your honest reactions. Tom discovered he felt guilty about wanting wealth because his family always criticized rich people. This guilt was sabotaging his efforts to save and invest. By acknowledging these feelings, he could work through them and build a healthier relationship with money. Consider your current financial strengths. Are you naturally good at budgeting? Do you research purchases carefully? Are you disciplined about saving? Lisa was terrible with day-to-day budgeting, but excellent at finding ways to increase her income. She built her wealth strategy around this strength, focusing on earning more rather than cutting expenses to the bone. Now examine your weaknesses honestly. Do you spend impulsively? Avoid dealing with investments? Procrastinate on financial planning? Mark realized he was great at saving money but terrible at making it grow. His savings account had $50,000 earning almost nothing in interest. Once he faced this weakness, he educated himself about investing and put his money to work. Your wealth vision should extend beyond personal comfort. What legacy do you want to create? Jennifer, a single mother, wanted to break the cycle of financial struggle in her family. She built wealth not just for herself, but to provide opportunities for her children and grandchildren. This bigger purpose kept her motivated during difficult times. The path to wealth looks different for everyone. David started with $80,000 in student debt at age 28. Instead of feeling defeated, he viewed this as his starting point. He aggressively paid off debt while building his career. By age 40, he had a net worth of $600,000. His story proves that your starting point matters less than your commitment to the journey. Take time to write your ideal financial future. Where do you want to be in 5, 10, or 20 years? Be specific about numbers, but also describe how you want to feel about money. Do you want the peace of mind that comes with financial security? The freedom to pursue your passions? The ability to help others? How does your current lifestyle align with your wealth goals? This question often reveals important disconnects. Rachel wanted to retire early, but was spending most of her income on expensive vacations and dining out. She had to decide what mattered more, current pleasures or future freedom. She chose a middle path, reducing some expenses while keeping the activities that brought her the most joy. Your financial story should reflect your values. If family time is important, your wealth plan might prioritize geographic stability over maximum income. If adventure matters most, you might choose a more aggressive investment strategy to fund travel dreams. There is no single right answer, only what works for your unique situation. Creating your wealth story also means planning for obstacles. What challenges might derail your progress? Market downturns, job loss, health issues, or family emergencies can all impact your financial journey. Having a plan for these scenarios keeps you on track when life gets difficult. Your story is uniquely yours to write, starting today. Part 2. Daily Habits for Lasting Change. The difference between those who build lasting wealth and those who struggle financially often comes down to one simple truth. Successful habits repeated daily create extraordinary results over time. This section reveals how small, consistent actions compound into significant financial transformation. You will discover the science behind habit formation and learn practical strategies for building money routines that stick. Through real examples and step-by-step approaches, you will see how tiny daily changes can reshape your entire financial future, regardless of your current situation or how busy your life feels. The wealthy individuals studied in research consistently demonstrate one key characteristic. They perform simple financial actions every single day without thinking about them. These actions become automatic, like brushing teeth or checking email. Consider Sarah, a teacher who started tracking every expense in a small notebook she kept in her purse. This 5-minute daily habit revealed she was spending $180 monthly on coffee and snacks. Within 6 months, she redirected half that amount to her retirement account. Over 30 years, this single habit change will generate over $400,000 in additional wealth through compound growth. The brain creates habits through a 3-step process called the habit loop. First comes the cue, which triggers the behavior. Next is the routine, the actual action you take. Finally, there is the reward, the benefit you receive from completing the action. Understanding this cycle helps you build powerful money habits that become second nature. Start with the smallest possible version of the habit you want to create. If you want to invest regularly, begin by transferring just $25 per week to a savings account. If you want to track expenses, start by recording only your 3 largest purchases each day. These micro habits feel easy to maintain and create momentum for bigger changes later. What financial habit could you start today that would take less than 5 minutes but create meaningful long-term impact? Michael, a construction worker, wanted to build an emergency fund but felt overwhelmed by the thought of saving thousands of dollars. He started by putting $1 in a jar every time he came home from work. After 2 weeks, this felt natural, so he increased it to $5. Within 6 months, he was saving $50 daily without strain. The key was starting so small that failure seemed impossible. Habit stacking proves incredibly effective for building financial routines. This technique involves attaching a new money habit to an existing daily routine. For example, check your investment account balance right after you check your morning email. Review your budget immediately after you eat lunch. Pay one bill right before you brush your teeth at night. The established routine serves as the cue for your new financial habit. The most successful wealth builders automate as many financial decisions as possible. They set up automatic transfers to savings accounts, automatic bill payments, and automatic investment contributions. This removes the daily decision-making burden and ensures consistency even during busy or stressful periods. Lisa, a busy marketing manager, automated her entire financial life. Every paycheck, money automatically flows to her checking account for expenses, her savings account for emergencies, and her investment account for retirement. She spends less than 30 minutes monthly managing her finances, yet her wealth grows steadily. Environment design plays a crucial role in habit success. Make good financial behaviors easier and bad ones harder. Keep investment apps on your phone's home screen, but delete shopping apps. Place cash in a separate account that requires extra steps to access. Set up your workspace with financial books and calculators visible. Small environmental changes create significant behavioral shifts over time. Tracking your progress provides the reward component of the habit loop. Create a simple system to monitor your financial habits. Mark an X on a calendar each day you complete your money routine. Watch your savings account balance grow. Celebrate small wins along the way. Progress tracking releases dopamine in your brain, which reinforces the habit and makes you want to continue. How might you redesign your environment to make saving money easier and spending money slightly more difficult? The most effective financial habits address the 3 core areas: earning, saving, and growing money. For earning, develop skills daily through reading, online courses, or practice. For saving, automate transfers and track expenses consistently. For growing money, research investments regularly and contribute to accounts systematically. James, an accountant, spends 20 minutes each morning reading financial news, checking his investment performance, and reviewing his spending from the previous day. This routine keeps him informed and engaged with his financial progress. Habit formation typically takes between 21 to 254 days, depending on the complexity of the behavior. Simple habits like checking account balances form quickly, while complex routines like comprehensive budgeting take longer. Expect some resistance initially, but push through the discomfort. The millionaires studied and researched didn't become wealthy through sporadic efforts, but through consistent daily actions maintained over decades. Social support accelerates habit formation significantly. Share your financial goals with family members or friends who support your success. Join online communities focused on wealth building. Find an accountability partner who shares similar objectives. When others know about your habits, you feel more motivated to maintain them consistently. Recovery strategies help when you inevitably miss days or make mistakes. Plan for setbacks by deciding in advance how you will get back on track. If you skip saving for 3 days, double your contribution on the 4th day. If you overspend 1 week, reduce discretionary expenses the following week. The key is returning to your routine quickly rather than abandoning it entirely. Remember that small improvements compound dramatically over time. A 1% daily improvement in your financial habits creates a 37-fold increase over 1 year through mathematical compounding. Focus on consistency rather than perfection, and trust that your daily actions are building the foundation for lasting wealth. Part 3. Finding inspiration in others. Success leaves clues everywhere, and the most powerful way to accelerate your wealth-building journey is by learning from those who have already walked this path. The stories of ordinary people who achieved extraordinary financial independence provide both motivation and practical blueprints for your own success. By studying their methods, seeking guidance from experienced mentors, and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, you create an environment where prosperity becomes not just possible, but inevitable. This section reveals how to identify and learn from the right role models while building supportive relationships that propel your financial growth. Learning from wealthy individuals often reveals surprising patterns that challenge common assumptions about money. Consider Maria, a school teacher from Phoenix, who accumulated over $2 million by age 58. Her secret was not a high salary or lucky investments, but rather her systematic approach to saving 30% of every paycheck and investing in simple index funds. Maria never drove expensive cars or lived in fancy neighborhoods. Instead, she found inspiration in her grandfather, who had survived the Great Depression by living frugally and saving consistently. Maria's story demonstrates how wealth often comes from following proven principles rather than discovering new strategies. She spent her weekends reading personal finance books and attending free investment seminars at her local library. Through these activities, she connected with other savers who reinforced her commitment to building wealth slowly and steadily. The power of role models extends beyond their financial achievements to their mindset and daily practices. Take Robert, a mechanic who built a 7-figure net worth by age 52. Robert found inspiration in Warren Buffett's annual letters to shareholders, which he read religiously each year. Despite having no formal business education, Robert applied Buffett's principles of patient investing and compound growth to his own portfolio. What specific qualities do you admire in people who have achieved financial independence? And how might you develop those same characteristics? Robert's transformation began when he joined an investment club at his community center. The group met monthly to discuss market trends and share investment ideas. Through these meetings, Robert learned about diversification, dollar-cost averaging, and the importance of staying invested during market downturns. More importantly, he found accountability partners who encouraged his disciplined approach to saving and investing. The most accessible mentors are often found in books written by successful individuals. Reading autobiographies and financial advice from wealthy people provides intimate access to their thinking processes and decision-making strategies. These books cost less than $20, but contain wisdom worth millions when properly applied. Consider developing a reading routine that includes both classic personal finance texts and contemporary success stories. Many wealthy individuals credit specific books with changing their financial trajectory. They often mention how reading about compound interest or tax strategies opened their eyes to possibilities they had never considered. Online communities also offer valuable connections with financially successful individuals. Forums dedicated to financial independence attract people at various stages of wealth building, from beginners to millionaires willing to share their experiences. These platforms provide opportunities to ask questions, share challenges, and receive feedback from those who have faced similar situations. Local investing clubs and financial meetups create face-to-face networking opportunities with like-minded individuals. These groups often feature guest speakers who have achieved significant financial success and are willing to share their strategies. The relationships formed in these settings frequently evolve into mentoring opportunities and long-term friendships. How might joining a financial community or finding a mentor change your approach to building wealth? Professional associations in your industry may also connect you with successful individuals willing to share their experiences. Many wealthy professionals attribute part of their success to mentors who guided their career decisions and investment choices. These relationships often develop naturally through shared professional interests and mutual respect. The key to learning from successful people lies in asking the right questions and implementing their advice consistently. Focus on understanding their thought processes rather than simply copying their specific actions. What worked for someone in technology might not apply directly to your situation in healthcare, but their principles of disciplined saving and strategic investing remain universally valuable. Remember that inspiration without action produces no results. Use the stories and advice you gather to create your own wealth-building plan, adapting proven strategies to fit your unique circumstances and goals. Part 4. Looking ahead, the next steps. The path to building wealth doesn't end with reading about others' success stories. This section serves as your launching pad for transforming inspiration into action. You'll discover practical frameworks for setting meaningful financial goals, creating accountability systems that actually work, and maintaining momentum even when progress feels slow. The strategies outlined here come from decades of research on what separates those who dream about wealth from those who achieve it. By the time you finish this section, you'll have a clear roadmap for your next steps and the confidence to begin implementing lasting changes today. Your wealth-building journey requires more than good intentions. It demands a structured approach that transforms daily decisions into long-term results. The millionaires studied in research consistently demonstrate that success comes from systematic planning rather than sporadic efforts. Start by creating your 90-day action plan. This time frame is long enough to see meaningful progress, yet short enough to maintain focus. Write down 3 specific financial goals you want to achieve in the next 3 months. Make them measurable and realistic. Instead of save more money, commit to save $500 each month by reducing dining out expenses to $100 and canceling 2 unused subscriptions. Sarah, a marketing manager from Denver, used this approach after reading about frugal millionaires. She identified that her coffee shop visits cost her $150 monthly. Rather than eliminating them entirely, she reduced visits to twice weekly and invested the saved $100. Within 6 months, her small investment account grew to over $700, motivating her to find additional savings opportunities. Accountability transforms good intentions into consistent action. Create a simple tracking system that measures both your progress and setbacks. Use a basic spreadsheet or notebook to record 3 numbers weekly: money saved, money invested, and unnecessary expenses avoided. How will you measure success beyond just dollars and cents? Consider tracking behaviors that lead to wealth, such as the number of investment books read monthly or financial conversations held with knowledgeable friends. The compound effect of small changes becomes visible when you maintain detailed records. Michael, a teacher from Ohio, tracked his lunch expenses for 1 month and discovered he spent $320 on takeout. He began preparing lunches 3 days weekly, saving $200 monthly. Over 5 years, investing this amount at 7% annual return created an additional $14,000 in his retirement account. Building wealth requires continuous learning, but avoid information overload. Commit to reading 1 personal finance book monthly and implementing at least 2 strategies from each book. Quality learning beats quantity every time. Create learning partnerships with friends or family members who share similar financial goals. Schedule monthly meetings to discuss progress, share challenges, and celebrate wins. These relationships provide motivation during difficult periods and accountability during tempting moments. Obstacles will test your commitment to wealth building. Expect setbacks, emergency expenses, and moments when saving feels impossible. Successful wealth builders prepare for these challenges by creating buffer funds and maintaining flexible strategies. When facing financial pressure, ask yourself what a millionaire would do in this situation. Would they abandon their investment plan or find creative solutions to maintain progress? Most wealthy individuals view challenges as opportunities to strengthen their financial discipline. Your next steps begin today, not tomorrow or next month. Choose 1 specific action from your 90-day plan and complete it within 24 hours. This might involve opening an investment account, calculating your net worth, or researching lower-cost alternatives for monthly expenses. Document your starting point by writing down your current financial situation without judgment. Include your income, expenses, debts, and assets. This baseline measurement will help you recognize progress even during slow periods. Remember that building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. The millionaires next door didn't achieve success through dramatic gestures, but through consistent, disciplined choices made over many years. Your journey follows the same pattern: small daily decisions that compound into significant long-term results. Each step forward, regardless of size, moves you closer to financial independence. Your story of wealth building begins with the next choice you make.